Well, I wanted to talk to you too, as well as I mentioned, about where things stand on the infrastructure package. It now looks like your group, and again, to sort of try and bring this back to a truly bipartisan effort, you're talking about breaking it up into segments and doing pieces of it at a time. Could you describe what this process would look like and what the chances really would be for additional packages down the road?
Well, Karen, I mean, one of the things this group has is we trust each other. We were the group that put together, for the most part, the November December deal, $908 billion. We got frustrated with the so-called powers that be because they were not acting. We knew the country needed additional COVID relief, and we got it across the finish line. We were not that active. A couple members were talking, but not really with much detail. Prior, we wanted to let the Capito conversations go as far as they could. We then came to the table, had a very intense negotiating session. The reported number of 579 in new money is almost double the amount of new money that Senator Capito had put forward. We think that meets the kind of once in a lifetime or once in a generation investment in infrastructure. That's 579 billion of new dollars over 5 years. That's been the reported number. And I realize, as someone who feels like we also need to come back and revisit our tax code, it's not fair that American businesses pay the smallest amount of corporate tax of any of the 35 industrial nations in the world. And I do think there are other parts of President Biden's plan around caregiving and particularly around making more meaningful investments around climate change, although the plan that we've discussed would have over $100 billion in energy-related, clean grid, smart grid investments. I do think would move the ball very significantly. But I do know there would have to be a second piece to this to probably pick up most of our Democrat support. I'm actually pretty optimistic. Again, the conventional wisdom was that a bipartisan group couldn't get things done. That same conventional wisdom was proved wrong last November, December. I think it would be great if we could prove conventional wisdom wrong twice in a single 12-month period.
And how confident are you that this second piece would actually, materialize and be passed if it was an add-on to the first?
Well, I mean, a lot of my Democratic colleagues have made very clear to me, and I get it, that you can't count on their vote for this more traditional infrastructure package if there's not a second effort, which we call reconciliation, which could include, I think, the kind of tax reform that's needed, both on the basis of international tax reform and a fair tax package. Again, I'm not suggesting something as aggressive as President Biden laid out, but I've got some very specific ideas there. And this is a once in a generation opportunity to take on the challenge around climate change. And we would be irresponsible if we didn't take those actions. I can only speak for myself, but I have talked to all of the other Democrats in the group, and I think I'm not sure there will be a first step if there's not at least visibility on how we get a second step, the reconciliation done.